One for broken hearts. One for broken dreams. One for every petty forgetfulness. One for every life-wrecking screw-up. And one to mark the end. In the late 1980s, I went to Aberystwyth to do my degree in English and drama. So began 3 of the most miserable years of my life. But that's another story. This is not that story. Aberystwyth has many stories to tell. Not all of them so miserable. I hope not, anyway. This is my father. This is my father's story. When I was at Aberystwyth, I had no idea that was where my dad had a love affair 10 years before he met my mum, with a woman he abandoned, heartbroken and pregnant, in the early 1950s. He did what? Oh, I found this out, of course, a few days after he died. Soon I'll be a stranger in a strange new place, looking for an old familiar face. I belong in Aberystwyth. This is my father's story, or is it? He isn't the one telling it. He never said a thing about this. He told very few, very vague stories about his early life, and we never had a lot to do with his side of the family. And you fall for it, don't you? I never thought to think there was anything like this behind it. What if they're not telling the whole story? What if they're missing out a crucial part? The part that explains everything. This isn't the truth. How could it be? This is speculation and fantasy based on loose facts, loaded memories, wishful thinking and hearsay. This is poetry, autobiography, travelogue, family history, all pulled together by me, the least objective of all. This is myth-making, storytelling, soul-questing. Whoosh! Last year I went on a journey. It was a journey gathering fragments, putting away of the past, following spirits. Spirits walk the earth, crossing many nations in pursuit of happiness. New stars. My dad left the UK a year after his first child, Jackie, was born in London. He never met her. He didn't return to the UK for 20 years when he came married to my mum, also British, who he met in Canada. It's my maple syrup. Canada. And with a family, me, my brother and sister, all born in Toronto in the late 1960s. When he first left, he went to the Far East. Go east for a new beginning, adventure and rebirth in exotic lands, which he loved. He lived there for 7 years. First Malaysia, or Malaya as it was called then, and then Hong Kong, where, amongst other things, he had a part in an Orson Welles film called Ferry to Hong Kong. He did. Jackie was 7 when she saw it. On its release in 1959 at Swiss Cottage Odeon, with her mother, grandmother and aunt, scrutinising the screen. I was probably a bit older when I saw it, sometime in the early 1980s. Someone in the family found a copy of it in the bargain videos bin in Woolies. It's fantastic. He's only on for like a minute and a half, but he has what they call in the trade a small but important part. And he's got lines with Orson Welles. Imagine that, lines with Orson Welles. My daddy swam in the South China Sea, amongst junks and dreams and secrets. I went on a journey to faraway places, starting at Aberystwyth. The sea was blue that day, and green. It had been a long time since I'd been there, since I had walked its grey, west-facing seafront, searching for myself under stones and at student societies. Before I went to university, I wanted so much. Underneath all the confusion and hesitation and paralysing longing for approval was a glimmering flame of desire, a glimpse of a vision for an adult life, filled with colour. Like the Sgt. Pepper album cover. I lost part of my soul in Aberystwyth. I know, of all places. So I suppose it was inevitable that at some point I would have to go back and get it. I have wondered, since I found out about my dad's time at Aberystwyth, if the bad time I had there wasn't something to do with karma. I mean, to leave a woman unmarried and pregnant in the early 1950s was a pretty evil thing to do. Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly fly the years, one season following another, laden with happiness and tears. My father was Jewish. I've always been fascinated by my family history on that side. The immigration from Eastern Europe at the turn of the last century. The whole Fiddler on the Roof story. My mum wasn't Jewish and we weren't brought up that way. My dad wasn't into that whole tradition thing. Neither of them were. Maybe that was the reason he couldn't marry his first girlfriend. Maybe he just couldn't marry a nice Jewish girl and settle into that whole life. His first girlfriend, the one he knew at Aberystwyth, Margie. She was the cousin of his brother's wife. They met at the wedding. Bit close to home, eh? No wonder he ran away. Plus, I guess he had high hopes. He was only 24, an actor, trained at RADA, a movie star maybe one day. He had dreams beyond Aberystwyth, and let's face it, who doesn't? So last year I went on a journey to Canada, the Far East, Europe, starting at Aberystwyth. Spirits crossing each other, circles overlapping like stones thrown into the sea. The grey Aberystwyth Sea at sunset. One for broken hearts. One for broken dreams. One for every petty forgetfulness. One for every life-wrecking screw-up. And one to mark the end.